fans are making a lot of noise at AT&T Stadium.
Anything that moves between these lines, got to get dealt with.
They hand it to Pollard. He comes running out the right side. Deep to the post to Lamb. At the 5 to the goal line.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
In 62 years of Cowboys football, there have been some great moments with the Minnesota Vikings. The Hail Mary, Tony Dorsett's 99-yard touchdown, the Herschel Walker trade. Now, the largest road margin of victory in Cowboys franchise history, 40-3 against the Minnesota Vikings at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. The Vikings came in at 8-1. They leave 8-2, and they leave in a big way as the Cowboys put up a 40-burger on the road in week number 11. Here with Nate Newton, the 6-time Pro Bowler and 3-time Super Bowl champ. I'm Kyle Youmans for Cowboys Game Night at the Star in Frisco. And where do we start, Nate? All three phases, offense, defense, special teams, they were outstanding in this win over Minnesota.
You know, our defense was challenged versus the run. They did what they needed to do. Our offense needed to get better on third downs. They did it. They was 12 for 17. They need to get better in time of possession. 37 minutes. Hey, this team played well, and Money Maher, Turpin, and our punter played great. Thank you.
Yes, they absolutely did. All three phases, and it started early for the Dallas Cowboys on the road, trying for their 4th straight win against Minnesota. That would be the first time they've ever done that on the road against a team in a dome stadium. On the opening drive of the game, the first pass attempt was a bad idea. Micah Parsons with the strip sack. The takeaway led to 3 points for Dallas as they struck first and got off to a really hot start defensively. Minnesota would take a field goal of their own, but Dallas went to Tony Pollard on the ground. He had 20 yards on this carry, 46 on the opening drive, and Zeke's 1-yard touchdown. A couple plays later capped off the drive. Dallas goes up 10-3 after the first quarter. Another field goal by Dallas and a defensive stop set up Tony Pollard again, this time as a receiver. 30 yards out, he takes this one down the far sideline all the way into the end zone for the touchdown. He was just getting started on a big day. Toward the end of the half, Dallas remained aggressive. Micah Parsons with his second sack of the half, and another multi-sack game for Micah Parsons. C.D. Lamb, of course, would try and get involved. He had 150 yards last week on this play. Time winding down in the second quarter. Dak Prescott rolling out to his right, finding C.D. right on that field goal target line for Brett Maher to try and tack on another field goal. 60 yards out. Money Maher has been great all year long. He comes up and he sneaks that one under the right, inside the right goalpost, but hold on 1 second. They called this under review on the C.D. Lamb catch just a couple seconds prior. This could have absolutely turned the game.
Well, it would have been a big to-do for the Dallas fans and the Dallas nation. But right here, I think C.D. just knew that he had caught that ball. He was confident, but he didn't have a look of confidence, but I think he was confident that he caught the ball. He made it happen right there.
On the toe drag
arms
flag.
Underneath, yes, sir.
Got the arms underneath it. It was a long look. It took a while. It was a long review, about 5 minutes of game action, or I guess non-game action, to get back to game action where Brett Maher, after the play stood, had to go up and kick it again. 60-yarders this time. He put it right down the middle. Mike McCarthy loves it. Brett Maher, of course, loves it. He was 4 of 4 on the game, including that 60-yarder. A huge boost heading into the break. Dallas got the ball to start the third quarter. That possession was much of the same. A heavy dose of Tony Pollard. 68 yards over the top, and Dak is certainly feeling it with his biggest weapon, having some fun.
You know what? That was so nice to use Tony Pollard coming out of the backfield on a wheel route, man. Once he turned on the turbos, it was there. Made Dak feel good. I like how they used him this game for us, Tony Pollard.
That put Dallas up 30-3, and the defense continued their onslaught of Kirk Cousins. DeMarcus Lawrence, this sack 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. They finished with 7 sacks as a unit, the most by a Dallas defense since 2008. Ezekiel Elliott on the next drive punches it in for his second touchdown of the night. 2 for Tony Pollard, 2 for Ezekiel Elliott. Each guys had 15 carries, and then Brent Maher continued his impressive performance with 50-yard field goal to make it a 40-burger on the road for the Dallas Cowboys, dethroning the Minnesota Vikings, who entered Week 11 with the best record in the National Football League, at least tied for the best record at 8-1. That is no longer. The Cowboys outgain Minnesota 458 to 183. And you take a look at third downs right there, Nate. 12 of 17 for Dallas, just 1 of 11 for the Minnesota Vikings, and one of the more impressive, more dominant road wins you will ever see in the National Football League, especially against a team that came in at 8-1 as well. Big win for Mike McCarthy following that loss last week to the Green Bay Packers. When we come back on Cowboys Game Night, we hear from the head coach out at US Bank Stadium.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. If you have a lucky quarter, it could pay off big when you play the new Cowboys scratch ticket game from the Texas Lottery.
The Cowboys are now 4-0 at US Bank Stadium all time. The first time they've ever beaten an opponent on the road 4 straight times in a dome stadium. They did so today with a 40-3 win over the Minnesota Vikings. Mike McCarthy knows a thing or two about Minnesota. He spent 13 seasons in the NFC North. Here's what he had to say on the win over his former rival.
Okay, David.
Hi, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Can you just talk about how the team overall across the board responded to that loss in Green Bay coming in here today?
Well, I just think like anything, you have a chance Monday to correct it, and I think the reduced work and just really focusing on the little things. We had a good week. I think it's always rewarding as a football team when your process lines up with your performance. So it's just, we wanted to come in here and play a complete game. We did. Obviously we had a lot of respect for these guys. They've been extremely productive on film, and we knew we needed to play at a high level today, and we did.
The combo of Tony and Zeke, how that works. Tony was still a big part of Zeke. Short yard, just talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, really, just the ability to stay in and out of concepts and not worry about who the back is. It's a tremendous advantage for us, and we came in here obviously with the ability to focus on the run and then play the pass off of that, just because of having both Tony and Zeke. And to be honest with you, I thought Malik gave us some excellent carries there in the third and fourth quarter. So. Run game was a priority today, and I thought our men up front, particularly the inside runs, I thought we did a really good job of knocking them back and giving our runners space in there.
Tony's fast, but you think his speed catches people off guard?
Tell you what, no one catches him. I do know that since I've been here. He's there's not too many games he doesn't have a long run, and he takes the wide route there for the big play touchdowns. So his ability to break tackles on a second level and finish is excellent.
We're going to hear from Tony Pollard coming up in our next segment, but before we go to that, let's talk about overall what Dallas was able to do on all 3 phases of this game, and a huge credit to Mike McCarthy of being able to convert the way that they did.
You know what? We've had some trying times after the first game of the season against Tampa Bay. Coach McCarthy's attitude, his demeanor don't change. He's hard on his players when he needs to be. He loves on them all the time as he tries to protect them. But I'm telling you what, Coach has done a great job of coaching his offensive coordinators, and in turn, the offensive coordinators get it out to everybody else. He's done a great job. He's been very steady, and and they had a great 3 phases of the game: special teams, offense, and defense.
Yeah, and they really did do so in all 3 phases and kind of turned the tides on what happened last week. Week 10, 31-28 loss in overtime against Green Bay. They turn around against a better team, at least record-wise, against Minnesota, and they completely convert all the way through. So when we come back, we hear from Tony Pollard, who outgained the entire Minnesota Vikings 189 to 183 in another big game for TP right after this.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. If you have a lucky quarter, it could pay off big when you play the new Cowboys scratch ticket game from the Texas Lottery.
Tony Pollard with 109 yards through the air, 2 receiving touchdowns. He also had 80 yards on 15 carries on the ground. Another big day for Tony Pollard, who just keeps showing how big of an offensive weapon he really is. Here he is after the game.
Tony, it felt like a statement game. What kind of statement do you think you guys made?
Just showing that, we recovered from last week, didn't finish like we quite wanted to. We came out, had a good first half, and I think we did a good job finishing this week too.
Tony, this isn't just the win that you guys had with the Vikings, it's complimentary football. Just talk about the tandem of Williams and Zeke and what you guys were able to do with the ground and through the passing game.
We just feel like, as long as we can, keep each other in and out, fresh on the field, just keeping the defensive guessing, not knowing what to prepare for, we feel like we had the advantage.
Can you walk us through your 2 touchdown catches and just what you saw? Just walk us through both.
The first one, I had a swing route out the backfield. The receivers, basically, they cleared it out for me. Tight end had a good block downfield, and Dak saw me at the end, and I was able to get it in. And the second one, something we've been working on all week, getting ready for this game, and, we called it at the right time, and it hit for us.
What about this week, that route, that confidence? Why was that particular to this game?
Just wanting to be aggressive, just take what the defense gives you, watching film, film study and things like that. So just a bunch of that.
You guys were really physical, and you relied on the run. Do you think, you can learn something from this game and take it forward as you guys continue?
Definitely. I feel like, we kind of found our formula, just, running the ball, pounding the defense, dominating, on all phases of the game, and, just trying to slow the game down and let our defense go out there and do what they do.
The offense leaned heavily on Ezekiel on the first offensive drive. Can you talk a little bit about his return and how that sets you up, his style of run, how it sets you up to be successful?
Yeah, that was big, for him, just coming back off his injury, getting out there, showing, he still has it, he still can go, and he's healthy. And, it was big. He had a 2-touchdown game, so, it's big for us.
You guys did more with 4 tight ends on the field. Zeke's touchdowns came on that, but that was new, of having 4 tight ends on the field at once, Sean, the fullback. What do you guys like about your tight end grouping? How important are they to your running game?
Just the versatility that they bring, being able to block, D ends on the line and being able to run out in space, make plays, run routes against, safeties and things like that. So just trying to create mismatches and be physical at the same time.
You mentioned your ability to catch passes and run the ball. How much do you pride yourself in that, being a good receiver and also somebody who can obviously run the ball from the backfield as well? How much do you pride yourself in that?
It's big, being a back, just not known for just, running the ball, actually you can catch the ball too, because, some backs you kind of look at him and it's like he's not really a big catcher or he's not a big physical runner. So just trying to be balanced and, have a little bit of everything.
Can you talk about what these next few days will look like as you prepare for the quick turnaround?
We got a quick turnaround. Monday, we're back in the building, back working, and we'll go from there. I'll let y'all decide on that one.
What was your initial reaction when you saw CD come down with that catch?
Oh, I knew he caught it. I'm not sure why it took so long reviewing it, but I was sure he caught it. So.
What a day it was for Tony Pollard and really the entire Cowboys organization. I felt like everybody got in on the fun, but let's talk about Tony Pollard and his efficiency in terms of just big-time plays. I mean, it's been 3 straight weeks. He's over 100 scrimmage yards. How big of a weapon has he become?
Oh, man, for 6 catches, 100 some yards. I mean, this guy is awesome. Every time he touched the ball, it's a big play waiting to happen. 15 runs, 6 catches. They found that happy medium to use him and to integrate Zeke into what they're doing. This guy's explosive. He's been just getting better and better every year. So, hey, Tony, keep your head to the grind, baby, and you'll be okay.
It's been a 1-2 punch all year. Both guys, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, have split the carries evenly, especially today, 15 and 15. Zeke ended up with 42 yards and 2 touchdowns in his first game back since he left with an injury and was not available for Chicago or the Green Bay games in each of their last 2. Good to have Zeke back.
Yes.
Great to have Tony Pollard playing the way that he has. When we come back, we flip to the defensive side of the football. Hear from Jaron Kearse as he played against his former team and had a sack against them as well. Seven sacks for the Dallas defense, their most since 2008 when they had 8 sacks back over a decade and a half ago. This time around, 40-3 the final score against Minnesota. Former Minnesota Viking Jaron Kearse took the stage.
The last 2 weeks we let guys run up and down the field, and it was good just to, we didn't take the disrespect lightly, and we went out there and got the job done.
Is it quiet as you've heard this building?
Say it again.
Is it quiet as you've heard this building?
Yeah, definitely is, and I'm happy I'm on the other side. But it's like I said, it was a great showing from all three phases. Special teams, defense, offense. Dak had those guys going. Tony had a phenomenal game. CD made a great catch. We just on all three levels, all 3 phases, we did our job.
You guys get a sack fumble on the very first time that you're out there 3 plays into the game. How big do you think that was, that first series for you guys to kind of set the tone?
It was huge. It was huge. But you really can't just put everything on that first drive because we had to continue to go out there and do the same thing, drive after drive, series after series. So never got too high when it came down to going out there and getting that script sack on the first drive. We just stayed neutral, stayed right in our lane, and continued to do that for the next 3 quarters.
Are you closer to this team you were last week in Green Bay or this team? Which team are you?
Say that again?
Which team are you? The one that lost last week in Green Bay or this one that dominated so much here against the Vikings?
We're both teams. We put that on film, that's who we are. But what we showed tonight is who we're trying to continue to become week in and week out. You can't take anything from last week because without last week we may not have this week. So we just continue to build on things. When we make a mistake, we try to continue to get better at that mistake, at that certain thing. And it just went out there and showed it tonight, setting edges, guys doing their job, guys in their gap. And we see the end result when we continue to do the things that we're supposed to do.
You talk about an under-the-radar find for the Dallas Cowboys. Jaron Kearse has certainly been that. Of course, he played with the Minnesota Vikings earlier in his career, but it was Dan Quinn, Micah Parsons, and a slew of guys on the defensive side of the football that had a fantastic day in the 40-3 win over Minnesota. When we come back, we wrap this one up, tie a bone on it, and now we look ahead to Thanksgiving against the New York Giants.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Reliant, an NRG company. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
Easily the most complete win for the Dallas Cowboys in the 2022 season and their biggest margin of victory on the road in Cowboys franchise history. 40-3 over the Minnesota Vikings as Dallas silences the Skol. Welcome back in to Cowboys Game Night with Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Youmans. Nate, now you look ahead to Thanksgiving in a matchup inside the division with the New York Giants. What does Dallas need to work on in a short week ahead?
Plenty rest. Plenty film. Treat this game coming up like you treated the last game. Stop Saquon Barkley and make Daniel Jones beat you, and you should be successful.
Now, which of the units impressed you the most in the 40-3 win today? I know that's a tough question to answer.
No, not for me. Whenever I know that our offense controls time possession, or they have 50% or more on third downs, we should win games because that plays into the strength of our team, and that's the defense. And it lets those superpowers come out and be who they need to be.
It was really impressive from the jump today. 40-3 over the Minnesota Vikings. The Cowboys now at 7-3. The Vikings fall to 8-2. The Cowboys in second place in the NFC East as they welcome in the New York Giants coming up on Thursday. For Nate Newton and our entire crew, I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long from Cowboys Game Night. We'll see you on Thursday.